Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat Thumb to all the brothers. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shem Yahweh to all the sisters. I am priest and officer of Barayah 1000, and this is the Monday night scripture breakdown class with General Mahayaman. General Mahayaman will be here. Have all your questions ready in the chat for when he appears. We know today is Labor Day. We know today is Labor Day, and we're not supposed to be celebrating any of the precious holidays, Easter, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, Christmas. We're not even supposed to celebrate our own birthday. Most High God only wants us to serve Him. He only wants us. He determines what day is better than another. He determines when we celebrate His high holy days. So we need to come back to Him, come back to His laws, His commandments, and do what He tells us to do. We gotta be obedient children. We can't be hard-headed and stiff-necked, going about trying to figure out on our own. When Most High God laid out the blueprint, we just gotta follow the playbook. Can you give me Amos chapter 5, verse 21? Come here.
Come. This is the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. Hate. It's like I hate.
I hate. The Most High God does hate. He does hate. The Most High God can't put the Most High God in a box, saying that Christian church saying that He's all love. He's not all love. The Most High God also hates. He gave us a different span of emotions. So why can't the Most High God hate? Read.
I will come. I despise your feast days.
I despise your feast days. He despised our feast days. The Most High God don't despise Passover. He don't despise the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of first fruits, the morning blowing of the trumpets, the feast of tabernacles, the feast of dedication, the Purim. He don't despise those. He don't despise His high holy days. He despises our feast days, our birthdays, our Valentine's Day, New Year's Day, Labor Day, of course. He despised those. Read.
I will come, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
And He will not smell in our solemn assemblies. He's not smelling that hot dog. He's not smelling that hamburger that's cooking today. He's not smelling that big macaroni and cheese, seafood salad, potato salad, pork, especially abomination foods. He's not smelling none of that. He's not smelling none of our foods in our solemn assemblies. When we go against His words, we can drop that. Let's get Zephaniah 2:1. Instead, the Lord wants us in these doors. He wants us in I.S.U.P.K. Changing our lives, getting rid of the old man, renewing our minds daily. Renewing our minds. He wants us on a straight and narrow. He wants us in that straight path, that narrow gate. And that is the Israelite School of New Practical Knowledge under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. That's where He wants us right now.
Right.
Read Zephaniah 2:1, Book of Shaw.
I will come. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Gather yourselves together. Gather yourselves together. That is what is being told right now. Gather ourselves together. We need to gather ourselves together. We just had the New York cookout. Give that a hand. New York cookout. See, Yasharala came together to New York cookout. There, we came first. Before that was camp. We had camp in Times Square, and then we had the cookout the following day. Yes. And we show brotherhood and unity. We was able to give food, give out. It was a free event to the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native men, women, and children. Give out free food to the community, and also there was the Olympics had nothing on the our breakdance competition, right, Mathumia? Yeah, they showed down. They showed down. They showed down. So we gotta uplift ourselves, and we have to uplift ourselves and show that it's time to be be on point with everything we need to do with keeping these laws, such as commandments. So I'm going to read on. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather us together, O nation not desired, because we are not desired here in this land. We are not desired here in this land called America. We are not. You could tell by the bloodshed that we face, by the prisons we get locked up. We the ones that are the most in the prisons. Police brutality. Uh, um, first fired, last hired. Uh, we can't be joined unto this place because this place is going to fall. It is definitely going to fall. Can you give me Ephesians 4:4, Bubba Kashaw? America is going to fall, and we can't fall with it. We cannot fall with it. And the only way we can escape it is if we be obedient to the Lord. We be obedient to the Lord until the end. We got to endure until the end. And the same shall be saved. We have to endure until the end. That's we can't slip up midway. We definitely can't slip up midway. Give me the book of Ephesians 4:4, Book of Show.
Come, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 4. There is one body.
There is one body. That is Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. There is one body. All the other fake Israelite groups that broke off, that they are not the home of the truth. We are the home of the truth. There is one body. The Most High God is dealing with only this organization. There's only supposed to have been this. It was only supposed to have been I.S.U.P.K. Read.
Come. And one spirit.
And that spirit is the spirit of warfare. The Most High God is a man of war, so he want his men to be men of war as well. He want his nation to be the men of his nation to be men of war as well. And we all got to fight our own flesh. And that's another type of warfare. We got to fight our own. That's the battle now today. It's not taking up arms and fighting our oppressors. It's living day to day, fighting our own flesh, fighting our lust, our strong desires that tempt us to way against the Most High God. Read Baba Kusha.
Come. Even as ye are called in one hope of your calling.
Even as ye are called in one hope of our calling. We only have one hope in our calling. Yahweh Shemashah, he died on that cross for us. He gave us a chance back to the Most High. Let's not squander that chance. Let's not fall back into our old ways. Read.
Come. Verse 6. Sorry, verse 5. One Lord.
One Lord. We have one Lord. There's not many lords. We have one Lord. Yahweh Shemashah is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We have one Lord. Read.
One faith.
One faith. One doctrine. We have one doctrine. We have one doctrine. One belief system. The one breakdown. All the different schools in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, from UK to Texas to California to New York to headquarters, is we have the same breakdowns. They're the same. Read.
One baptism.
One baptism. One way to get clean. One way to get clean, and that's coming through these doors. That's the way we get clean. Coming through these doors, training ourselves, doing our 90 days, learning what to do, what not to do. and staying strong, enduring. Let's get Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. Because these laws are not going nowhere. Like the laws that we have right now, they're not going nowhere. The law is not going nowhere. The Most High God, he's righteous, and he chose Adam. Now Adam, he listened to his woman and fell off, but Christ came back and got it right. So now we have no excuse not to get it right ourselves. And that law that was given to Adam is the same law that Christ had to follow, and he fulfilled it. Read Baruch 4:1, Baruch Kishore.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God.
So this book right here, the Holy Bible with the Apocrypha, this book is the book of the commandments of God. This is the layout. This is what we're supposed to, these are the rules of life, the rules that we're supposed to follow. For this is the whole duty of man, that we keep the commandments of the Lord. Paraphrasing. Read.
And the law that endured forever.
The law that endures what?
Forever.
Forever. The law endures forever. It's not going nowhere. So for generation to generation to generation to the end of time, these laws not going nowhere. So we should get it right in this lifetime, so we can get it right in the next lifetime. So we can keep on doing it. Keep keeping it. Read.
All they that keep it shall come to life.
All they that keep it shall come to life. So we keep it, we come to life. We're not having those. We have the Lord's protection now. We have the Lord's protection. We have His wisdom. We know how to walk with wisdom. We know how to move appropriately outside in these streets. We know what to do and what not to do. We know how to treat each other in our family, in our nation. We know how to treat each other. We know how to treat the heathen. We know how, because honor all men, that's what the scriptures say, honor all men. We know how to be brotherly towards one another. We know how to do that. Read.
But such as leave it shall die.
But such as leave it shall die. And that's and it's not just a physical death, it's a spiritual death. We turn like the last state is worse than the first. Like those first, that legion come on us, like drugs, abominable lifestyles, illnesses. That's worse than death. It gets bad. Life can get horrible. Life can get horrible. There's some things worse than death. Read on, Bubba Kishore.
Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it.
Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. You gotta take hold of the law. Take hold of these commandments. We gotta grab it with all our life. We have to. We have no choice. Read.
Walk in the presence of the light thereof.
Walk in the presence of the light thereof. The law, such as commandments, is the light. The law. The law is light. When we keep it, we are the salt of the earth, and we the light of the world. We should let our light shine. We let our light shine when we keep these laws, such as commandments. Read.
That thou mayest be illuminated.
That thou mayest be illuminated, so we may shine. Another nation will see us and will say, say to us, we are wise and understanding people. And who hath God so nigh unto them, such as this great and mighty nation. Read.
Come. Give not, verse 3. So give not thine honor to another.
Give not thine honor to another. Yes, we should be selfish with our book, with our scriptures, with our heritage, with our with the prophecies concerning us. We should be selfish with the covenants. Yeah, the promises. It wasn't given to no one else. It was given to us. We should be selfish with them. Read.
Come, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Nor the things that are profitable unto thee unto a strange nation. The Lord our God only loves us. He chose us to be above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we should not give these other nations anything. He said they like a drop that falleth from a bucket. He said they like a drop that falls from a bucket and spittle. They're nothing. We supposed to be ruling over them. We supposed to be ruling over the other nations. And that's going to happen one day. It's going to be Christ, the 12, the 144. We're going to reign. Right now, we got to get right. Right now, we got to do the right thing. The Most High God is watching this nation. He's watching the righteous and the wicked. He's watching everybody, seeing how everybody's moving, seeing what's going on. But we got to make our election sure. We definitely got to make our election sure. Continue with them, y'all. Baruch Yeshua.
Come. Verse 4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us.
Happy are we, for the things pleasing unto God are made known unto us. We know what pleases the Lord. Not eating shrimp, pork, crab, lobster. Being brotherly towards one another. Not stealing, not committing adultery, following his, keeping the Passover. These are what pleases the Lord. Read.
Come. Verse 5. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel.
Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Be of good cheer, my people. See, my people, the Lord has a people. He has a people. He doesn't have multiple people. He has one nation. He chose us. He chose Joshua, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Israel. That's who he chose. The memorial of Israel. Read.
Verse 6. Ye were sold to the heathens, like to the nations, not for your destruction.
See, we were sold to the nations not for our destruction, not till we can be completely wiped out and be obliterated from off the earth, not till we can be gone and then we're not having a name on this earth anymore. Read.
Come. But because ye moved God to wrath.
But we moved the Most High God to wrath. So the Most High God had to punish us. He had to correct us. He had to get us in line, straighten us out as a good father should, because we was going off. And he didn't want to see his children being used and abused and being by these other nations and not listening to what he says. Read.
Come. ye were delivered unto the enemies. Verse 7.
Yeah, see, we was delivered unto the enemies. So we gonna drop that. Let's get Judith 5 and 20. Judith 5 and 20 in the Apocrypha. So yes, the other nations. See, right now, our oppressor is ruling. Our oppressor is ruling, and they know, the other nations know that when we sin against the Most High God, that they have an advantage over us. They have an advantage over us, and they can come into our neighborhoods. They can come into our lands and just take it and just destroy us completely. They can destroy us. So we got to make sure we always on point, that we always doing what the Lord tells us, so we can have the Lord's protection. Because the other nations also know what happened to Egypt. It's records. The records speak for itself. Moses with the plagues, and then that Red Sea. They know the power of the Lord, and they don't want to be that next example, that next terrifying example. But there's going to be another Exodus, so to speak, and that's going to be out of the land of the lake of fire, out of the land called America. And this time, Yahweh Shemashach is coming back with 200 million angels. And those so-called UFOs, the chariots of the Lord, it's going to save the nation, save the ones who the Lord wants to be saved. We pray that all Israel gets saved, of course, to make it on those chariots, so we can get up out of this land. Read, Public Shaw. Go ahead. Oh yeah, right now we're about to read Judith chapter 5 and verse 20 in the Apocrypha.
Judith chapter 5, verse
20 in the Apocrypha. In the book.
This is the book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor. So this was a heathen speaking to a heathen Lord. So go ahead.
If there be any error in this people.
So he said, if there be any error in this people, if there be any error, any sin, any iniquity, any transgression of the law,
Wrap it up. Get it on the water boy. Appreciate it. Let's get it on, Akim. I'll answer all of your questions in the room and online. Un momento. Nosotros, Israelitas del Conocimiento Práctico Universal, comenzamos en 1 Oeste Calle 125, Harlem, Nueva York. 169 desde 1900. Almost. Hold on, Akim. Bear with me. I can't recall the rest. Babidi. Harlem, Nueva York, desde 1969, debajo del mando de el general Yahanna. Carnales, esta es la verdad. Si tú eres si tú eres hombres, hispano, negro o indio nativo, tú eres Israel, el pueblo elegido de Dios. Tu madre y tu padre dicen que somos un culto y mantienen su iglesia sin culpa, pero su iglesia es culpable de todo lo que nos están pasando. Orale. I'll take your questions in the room and online. We ready to rock?
So far, there's no questions, but there should be some questions.
No problem. Let's go. Today we're going to go into the labor movement in America. As most of you know, today is Labor Day. Now, if you want to understand the significance of Labor Day, you have to understand the significance of the labor movement in America and how it applies to Black and Hispanic people. The labor movement is where you get the 5-day workday. You know, working from Monday through Friday. Before the success that the labor movement had, they would just could make you work 7 days a week. There was no 5-day work. There was no 5-day workday. The 5-day workday came because people protested and fought and rioted in front of factories. And because of that, now you have a 5-day workday. The weekend is an invention of the labor movement. There was no such thing as the weekend. The weekend comes from the success of men and women who fought and labored and rioted and were beaten up by the police and beaten up by the National Guard until they fought the water warrior. And now we have there's a such thing as the weekend. Before that, there was no weekend at all. What's very difficult to understand is how they were able to achieve such success. How were they able to do it? Lord knows they had enemies. Lord knows they had every major corporation and every political party. At the time of the birth of the labor movement, that was around the Industrial Revolution. So we're going back to the 1800s when factories began to be formed in America. And of course, the conditions on those factories was terrible. And so people began to complain in Europe and in America about the conditions. And of course, then their cries were unheard. No one listened to them. And both political parties at the time were against them. The Democrats and the Republicans were against them. Then, of course, what complicated it is the Civil War. When the Civil War ended, then you had new workers coming from the South, which were the tribe of Judah, the chosen people of God, the people you call Negroes. They were living in the South, but the North needed workers. They needed people to come up north and to be the workforce in Chicago and in New York and in Philadelphia and in Detroit and in St. Louis. So they would go down south and get Black people, go into churches and organizations and convince Black people to go up north at the end of the Civil War. And Black people began to do it. And then what happened then? Labor unions were formed to keep Black people out of jobs in the North. You weren't allowed, Black people were not allowed to join white labor unions. And so now because of that, Black people had to join their own unions, had to make their own unions. What was born of that? The Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement started with Black people simply trying to get better jobs. That was the March on Washington that so many of you know about today. The March on Washington, its original name was a March for Jobs. That was in the title. Because Black people were being barred from working anywhere because they were not allowed to be in the white unions. And when they tried to form a Black union, white people inevitably would beat them up and would send strike breakers out to their marches and hit them with baseball bats. And so Black people had no place to work. As a matter of fact, many of you know that Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, the reason that Martin Luther King was in Memphis, Tennessee, he was there to support the Black sanitation workers strike. The Black sanitation workers in Memphis were going on strike because they were getting paid less than half of their white counterparts' paycheck. And they were forced to do terrible jobs, to do the jobs that white people wouldn't do. So the Black sanitation workers went on strike. They were beaten by the police. The National Guard came against them. And of course, the white labor unions also came out to beat them with baseball bats. Martin Luther King went out there to support their strike, and that's when he was killed. So what we know as the Civil Rights Movement, it was supposed to be, it was generally accepted to be a fight so Black people could break into the union that white people would not let them in. And they had to fight, and they had to fight, and they had to fight. Now what do you have today? The weekend. That's what you have today. That's what got invented because of that fight. The weekend, the 5-day work week, health care, overtime. right? Days off and sick days. All of those things come from people doing something that black people think is evil to do today. How were labor unions successful? They were unified. Unity. Unity is where you get this 5-day work week. Unity is where you get health care. Unity is where you get benefits and when you get days off. Labor unions unified. And because of that, the world became a better place for people that otherwise would not have had a voice. Why is it then so evil for blacks and Hispanics to unify? Why can't we unify? Why can't we decide we want to make the world a better place? So we're going to create a union that doesn't include everybody, the same way unions don't include everybody. Unions are specific to those people on that job who work that profession. Well, why can't we have our unions specific to blacks and Hispanics, North American Indians? Why can't we come together with a particular group of people and fight for the rights that we believe God has given us? It worked for Labor Day. It worked for the unions. It worked for them. I have some videos. I sent those videos to Yedai. Is Yedai coming here today? Okay, when he gets here, I'll show him, unless he can send them to the brother right here, right? If not, with that, I'll answer some questions for you. But that's the breakdown of Labor Day. That's why now everyone has a day off. It's a federal holiday, but it didn't start like that. Originally, everyone hated the unions. Everyone hated Labor Day. Everyone hated the labor movement. Both political parties, all the churches, everyone thought it was wrong. Everyone. But they didn't let that deter them. So now what will you do when your mother says you're in a cult and you're wrong for unifying with your people? You're wrong for coming together and going out on the street corner and going on the internet and protesting for the treatment of your people and how it's contrary to God's law. It worked for the union. Why can't it work for blacks and Hispanics? Why can't we do the exact same thing that the unions did? Why can't we come together? Why can't we unify? Why can't we raise our voice and demand a better life? Why can't we demand a better place? If it worked for all of our enemies, then I would think it could work for us. I pray you understand. We'll get to your questions now.
This is from Ashata, Sloppy General. If I could, and you don't mind,
No problem, man.
can I get a breakdown of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17? How do you pray without ceasing? Are there certain times you do it for certain things?
No problem. Go ahead and read, please.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 17. Pray without ceasing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
The term pray without ceasing does not mean pray every day, all day, every minute of the day. That is, of course, not what it's talking about. Pray without ceasing, meaning don't stop praying simply because you get discouraged. That's what praying without ceasing is talking about. At those times, you better pray. Because when don't you pray? You don't pray because you're discouraged. Because you feel like these prayers aren't working. Because you feel like things won't get better. Everyone thanks God when things are going well. You thank God when you hit the number, your scratch off, get you a few dollars. And then you have some rough times, and then you might pray in the beginning, thinking that God will help you, but then you lose hope. To pray without ceasing means that you don't stop praying simply because times get hard. You continue to pray even in hard times. Everyone understands. Next.
This is from I.S.U.P.K.
I see you. Go ahead.
Sloppy, sir, if I could, may I have a breakdown from Leviticus chapter 24, verses 10 through 12. I was given this scripture as justification for interracial marriage.
No.
For water for your time, sir.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 24 and verse 10. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And this son of the Israelite woman and a man of Israel strolled together in the camp. Verse 11. And the Israelite woman, the son, blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses. And his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Debri, of the tribe of Dan. Verse 12. And they put him in ward that the mind of the Lord might be shewed him.
So they waited and they went to Moses to see what should we do with these two. They wanted to see what Moses' judgment, an Israelitish woman that fought with an Israelite man. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 13, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 14, bring forth them that have cursed without decay, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him.
Who got stoned here?
The son of Israelite's woman.
Keep going, there's a little more.
Okay. Verse 15, and thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, whosoever curseth this God shall bear his sin.
Okay. For time's sake, I got to speed you up, all right? When Moses left the land of Egypt, our salvation out of Egypt is different than the salvation we're going to receive under Jesus Christ in this way. When Jesus Christ returns, all Israel shall be saved. Only Israelites will get on the chariots that are coming. Only Israelites. It wasn't like that coming out of Egypt. Coming out of Egypt, the Most High God allowed every Israelite to leave Egypt with their heathen wives. So if you were an Israelite man in Egypt and you had a heathen woman, she came with you, right? If you were an Israelite woman and you were married to an Egyptian man, the heathen children came with you out of Egypt. That's how it worked. Everyone just left. Everyone left, period. It wasn't until we were in the wilderness that the Most High separated us from the mixed multitude. What do I mean by mixed? Meaning people who were sinners left Egypt. No sinners will get on the chariots of God. None. But people who were sinners, they got to leave Egypt simply because the Egyptians wanted all of us out, regardless of whether we followed Moses or not. Our salvation under Jesus Christ won't be like that. Either you'll be a person who has devoted themselves to changing yourself. You get to go first, or you'll be people that help those people. You get to go after them. But Egypt, everybody left. Everybody left. An Israelite with whatever heathens you had around you, or working for you, or in your family, they left with you. And then later on, Moses got rid of the sinners. And when he got rid of the sinners, he got rid of the heathens with them. Because they were, of course, married to heathen women and had heathens in their family. He got rid of all of them. So this precept is about that, all right? And that's all you need. But if you see that when you read the Exodus and about Moses leaving, you'll see that that's why. You need the precept you just look to when he got rid of the mixed multitude. You can look that up right now. Give it to the warrior now, the mixed multitude. And give me the brother who put the javelin in the back of that man who was having sex with a Chinese woman in the Bible. That was during the same time. Matter of fact, let's go with that one since it's quicker. When Moses said, fine, I let all of y'all come with us out of Egypt. But there's too many sinners here who love to be with heathen women, who love to be with so-called white women, so-called Chinese women, so-called African women. Enough of that. We were out in the wilderness and we were sinning the same way we sinned in Egypt. They had enough of that. Moses had enough, and he decided that all the sinners had to go. All of them. You take your heathen wife with you. All right? As he's telling the people that that's what's going to happen now, someone tells him there's a man in his tent right now having sex with a Moabite woman. What is a Moabite woman? A Chinese woman. Well, somebody went to that tent and put a javelin through both of them. And this is in the Bible. There really is no equivocation in the Bible about interracial marriage. Interracial marriage is unlawful. There's really, there's not a gray area in the Bible about that, in the Old or the New Testament. Did people do it? Yes. Those people were considered sinners, and they had to be exiled from the nation of Israel. They had to leave. They couldn't be around good, decent people who would never have sex with a woman who wasn't someone of their family. If you're a brother, man, get a sister. And if you don't want to get a sister, then you're really beneath contempt, and you shouldn't be around us. You should leave, and you should get out of here. And that's what happened in the law. They were exiled. Okay, you have the precept I asked for?
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Numbers, 25, verse 8. Or let's just start at 7. This is the book of Numbers, 25, verse 7. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. Verse 8.
Read above it so you can know why he's doing that.
Okay, verse 6. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses.
Yeah, not a Moabite, Salakia, a Midianitish woman. Who are the Midianites? Some type of Arab or Iranian or something. I forget. Keep going.
A Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all of the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
They were already crying because the Most High God was cursing them because they continually tried to interracially marry. And they were crying in sadness. Continue.
Verse 7. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. Verse 8. And went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through. He thrust both of them through.
The man, go ahead.
The man of Israel and the woman through her belly.
The man of Israel and the woman through her belly. Because he went through the man's back and through the woman's belly because he was on top of her. So when he went through his back, he also went through her stomach and he killed both of them there. Right? The Most High God is not making this cryptic. Also give me women who the Lord said that thou ought not to marry in the book of Chronicles. And of course you have Deuteronomy 7:3. Solomon did marry strange women of whom the Lord said, thou shalt not marry. These are the rules, man. What would the labor union do if you broke their rules? Who knows what the rules are of a labor union? If you are on strike, if the labor union is on strike and someone tries to go to work at that factory, when that place is on strike, what does the labor union do? What are they called? The people that try to go and work for a place, even though the workers are striking. Those people are called scabs. That's what they're referred to as scabs. Because if this place is having a strike, you're not allowed to go in there and try to get that job. If you do it, you're called a scab. They have a big old rat. You ever seen that big rat around the city? It's a big, giant, inflatable rat. And they park it out in front of places when they're striking. And if you try to go in there and get a job, you're a rat because you're breaking the union. The union has decided this place is getting shut down because they won't pay us enough money, because they won't meet our demands. So you're not allowed to go get a job in there until the company makes a contract with all of us. Those are the rules. Well, don't you know in this union, there are rules. There are rules in here. And you can't break this union. You can't be a scab in here. You're not allowed to give your money and your child support check to some white girl. You can't do that. Nah. What are you going to do? Go now have a baby now with a white woman. Now you have a baby with her. So who's getting your child support money? Because she's going to put you on child support. You know white women do that. I know in your mind, white women are just the most delicate flowers, and they would never argue with you. But you realize Jeff Bezos is divorced. And give me the name of rich men who are divorced. Jeff Bezos, Tiger Woods. What's the cat who invented Microsoft? Bill Gates. Every white man you've ever met in Hollywood and on TV has a white woman taking his money, she'll take yours too. She'll take your measly paycheck like they take anyone else's. So now you're giving her all of your money. This white woman, you're going to give her all of your child support check. So now her family gets richer. Her family gets increased. And what about your sister who's struggling every day alone, who's struggling to take out the trash and to try to pay bills while you're giving money to some devil, all because you're some nasty freak who watches so much pornography that in your mind you can only be attracted to the kind of women on porno films, which are white women. You're trying to break our union, ISUP, and we're not going to let you. We're going to get rid of scabs like you. We're going to get rid of scabs like you who try to break our union. I pray you understand. Continue.
Next question, sir. Mm-hmm. This is from...
Give the brother the precept he asked for. The one I quoted just now, if you need it. I quoted it just now. That should be enough for you. Next.
This is from Kentare Mystique. Slaki Adawan, if I may add.
That's Shantaray Mystique.
Oh.
Shantaray Mystique. Go ahead.
Slaki Adawan, if I may add, with your grace.
Please.
Do you think that God punishes us or allow bad things to happen to us in order to give ourselves fully to Him? And how would we know that's what happened?
Well, that is absolutely what happens, right? Some of the things you're going through in your life are for many different reasons. Some of the things you're going through in your life are because you are born with a curse. You're doing certain things because of who the family you're born in. The same way that through hereditary traits, you can get diabetes and high blood pressure. A lot of you are alcoholics because it runs in your bloodline. A lot of you are addicted to drugs because it's in your bloodline. A lot of your weakness comes through your blood. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. But you must know why you're doing it so you can fight it. You have to fight it. Some of you are born in a terrible situation because of something you did in a past life. And now you're in this terrible situation so you can pay for it and so you can be born again. So you can change, make the correction you did not make in a past life. Some of you are born in a terrible situation because of something your parents did. And now you're paying for it. You need to know about that so you can fix it and stop behaving like your parents. A lot of you have had terrible parents in the world. And to come into the truth, you'll have to become something different than them. You'll have to change. All right? If you're not fortunate enough to have a parent who has changed, some of you have parents who have changed. And that is a blessing, brother. That's a blessing. Not all of us have that. You might have a mother who is absolutely sick, and she has the sickness of her great-great-grandmother. She might be wicked just like her great-great-grandmother. And you have a grandfather who is a terrible person because his great-great-grandfather was a terrible person. You're going to have to break that mold up. You're going to have to change that. You're going to have to break the generational curse. Generational curses come from parents. They come from parents. So you have to get away from that. Then there's other people who, when terrible things happen to you in your life, you're being corrected because our God is our Father. That's a concept Jesus Christ was trying to make us understand. He's our Father. And that's what fathers do. Right? Fathers correct children because they want them to change. Fathers do a mean and terrible thing. It feels like that, but he's doing it because he wants you to be a better person. He's not doing it because he wants to hurt you. But he's doing it because he wants you to never do this again. Everyone understands. All right. And that, of course, is true. All right, that's to the sister's question. Next.
This is from I.S.U.P.K. May I have a breakdown of 1 Samuel 14, verse 8?
Absolutely. It'll be my honor and pleasure to help you out in any way that I can. Let's read the scripture for the brother or the sister.
Yeah, more questions.
Please continue, warrior. My apologies.
Then said Jonathan, behold, we will pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. A Kemet person was saying, this is about LGBT people and behavior.
I might need more of an explanation for that. I don't understand that. Let's read it though. Read 2 verses above it.
Okay. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 14, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come, and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. Mm-hmm. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few.
So I'll break it down for you. This is Jonathan, who was the son of King Saul. King Saul was a man of the tribe of Benjamin. Jonathan was a man of the tribe of Benjamin. Jonathan was an excellent brother, and he was very close friends with King David. All right. And so he's saying, let us go over to this garrison. A garrison is like a, what do you call a garrison? Like a small castle, or a fort. That's what a garrison would be, like a fort. And Jonathan is telling his armor bearer, think about knights. This is during the time of knights. That's what Jonathan was, and that's what King David was, a knight. And he had a man, a young brother, who carried his armor. They were called armor bearers. And he told his armor bearer, man, let's go against these uncircumcised Philistines. That was an old curse that Israelites would call heathens, uncircumcised Philistines, because the foreskin of our penis was circumcised. And we were the only ones that did it. So we knew that every African, every Chinese person, every white person, we knew they were all uncircumcised heathens. Jonathan said, let's come against them, man, because we know the Most High does not need numbers to save. He doesn't need that. The Lord doesn't need armies and armies of men to save anyone. A lot of you are terrified of our oppressor because he has so many armies. What difference could that make to the one true living God? He does not need armies of men to save. It's right here in the Bible. Read it again.
It may be that the Lord will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few.
There is no restraint to the Most High to save by the many or by the few. So many people think there's strength in numbers. There is no strength in numbers. There's strength in a few men or a many that are what? I'm gonna thumb you out.
Fear of the Lord.
You're right, but you got to be here today. There's a topic, there's a purpose that are, young man, right here.
Unified.
Give him a hand. Well said. You know, unified. That's real unity, y'all. You got people like the United States military and the police, the purple pigs, the IUIC. They think unity is wearing the same color. That's unity to them. Everybody wearing the same t-shirt is unity. That is not unity. To all wear the same color. That's not unity, brother. Unity is that other thing that's too deep for people to understand. In the Israelite school of UPK, we are absolutely unified. We teach the same thing, believe the same thing, require the same faith of one another. That's unity. All of you wearing the same t-shirt is, you know, some men in IUIC are gay, some are not. Some love heathen women, some don't. Some teach a different thing than the other ones teach. They're not unified no more than our cops unified, or people in the white man's military unified. They're not unified either. They just all wear the same uniform. That doesn't make you unified, brother. In the UPK, we understand what real unity is. We understand what it means for every man to care about his brother's well-being. That's what unifies us. We all believe the same thing. We all teach the same thing. Our goals are one and the same. Jonathan knew that. Jonathan said, man, we don't need armies of men. The Lord can save with a few or with many. He can save anyone he wants. And they decided to go fight these bastards out. They decided to have a day with them, man. So soon we'll have our day with our enemy as well. I pray you understand. Soon we'll have our day. Read it again.
Okay. This is the book, 1 Samuel 14 and verse 6. And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come, and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few.
All right, did we read the question that he said this is applying to LGBTs?
2 verses there.
2 more verses.
I mean, you wanted this verse.
I did, where are we at? Are we there yet or not?
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 7. And his arm bearer said unto him, do all that is in thine heart. Turn thee, behold, I am with thee according to thy heart.
The armor bearer said, Hazlo, what is it in Spanish? Hazlo, do it. Do it. You want to go take him on? Let's do it then. Let's go. That's what he said to the man that he served. Let's go. Keep going.
Verse 8. Then said Jonathan, behold, we will pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them.
Okay, is this what he's saying is having sex with them? Is that what they're saying? Well, you LGBT people, you stretch a lot of things to make your wickedness righteousness, man. You really are stepping out there. Why don't you just say we're gonna do it and we don't care what God says about it? Just do it the way people smoke crack and shoot heroin. You got a heroin addict. He's not saying, well, God made me a heroin addict. You ever heard that before? I haven't. I know everything it is to know about crackheads and crack. And I've never heard a crackhead say, I was born like this. I was born loving crack. God made me love crack. I love heroin, and God wants me to love heroin. I was made to love heroin. Usually a wicked person doesn't do that. If you want to be an LGBT person, just say you're doing and you don't care what God says about it. Because, of course, this scripture is not talking about having sex, running over there and having sex with all of the men that you're going out to fight. It's talking about fighting, man. Why do I got to break this down? I have to go. All right. Anything else? All that's about fighting. It says discovering themselves unto them, meaning what? These few men, there's a big old fort of heathens, Philistines, Africans. Jonathan has just a few men with him. He's going to creep down on them bastards, all low to the ground. Creep up on them, get real close, and then discover him, then himself. Now he's up, and now he is firing on them. That's what that is talking about. He's not going to sneak down and take him on a date and have dinner with him and have sex with him. That's not what he's talking about. Discovering meaning because he's going to surprise them. It's a sneak attack. He's going to surprise them because they're so few in number. He's not going to make himself known all the way across the field. He's going to sneak down there, creep down there, get up on them real close, and then they'll find out what kind of day we're having today. Does everyone understand? Next.
No more questions right now, sir. We have an article that was sent.
All right, do it.
Do you know which one you want to start with?
Give me the people who were against the labor movement. You have that one?
I have the Martin Luther King was peaceful.
In Texas, that people can't hear me with this microphone. If you can't hear me, tell the brother something about it, all right? It is a little farther away. Is this where it usually is? This microphone?
It's connected. It's connected. There's no problem.
All right, it's connected. We're good to go with the sound, right?
Okay.
All right, solid.
I think I got found this.
If there's any questions in the room, please don't hesitate to ask, all right? Bartholomew, you might see me one more time, please. I'm sorry? Yeah, let me see this. What's this here? Scroll up, please. Read that for me, please.
Okay. The labor movement has faced opposition from a variety of sources.
Now remember, there's a national holiday today called Labor Day. Everyone loves Labor Day now. It's a national holiday. Everyone got off everywhere in the country. But that's not how it started, right? They used to hate it. Everyone hated it. Keep going. Wait, now this is the list of people who hated the labor movement, who couldn't stand it, who tried to stop it, who fought to stop Labor Day from ever existing. who fought to stop there ever being a 5-day work week, paid holidays, getting off on holidays. People fought for that. No one wanted to give you off on any holiday. People had to riot in the street for that to happen. So now we're going to talk about the people who hated it before it became a national holiday. Read the list of people.
Police and security.
Wait, slow that down. Who hated it?
Police.
The police hated Labor Day. They couldn't stand it, and they would go out. And if you tried to stand in front of a business, because this is how labor unions were broken. You form a union. The boss would hear about it, and you would get fired because he heard you were out with a petition trying to get everyone to sign up to all be in this union. Then you get fired. And so now, because you got fired, the people would get angry about it. They fire more people. And finally, the people said, we're tired of this. And we're all walking off the job. That would happen in West Virginia, in Kentucky, a famous coal mine. It was a famous story. I forget the name of the woman who did it. A woman did this. When they walked out of a coal mine to unionize the coal mines. This was going on everywhere. They'd have a walkout. Everybody would just get up and walk out of the place. And what would happen? The boss would go try to hire new people. Since you walked out, they put an ad in the newspaper and have 300 more people coming down there for the job. Well, if those 300 people get that job, then what happens? They break the union. So they would stand out front to stop any new workers from coming in there. And who would the boss call? Take a guess. The police. And the police would come with billy clubs and beat the piss out of everybody standing there. Beat them to death. The police always tried to break unions. Or you're marching. You march down the street, college students trying to march. The police come with water hoses and German shepherds to fight you. Just like General Yohanna taught us about the Pullman's union, the Pullman porters, people who worked on the trains, taking the tickets on the trains. Man, they tried to riot, man. The police came out, beat everybody damn near to death. The police were against the union. The police were against Labor Day. Continue.
And security forces.
Wait, you got to start. Slow it down. The police, who else is next?
And security forces.
Guess what the boss would do? He'd hire his own security guards. Those security guards, the security at the plant or at the factory or at the business, those security guards would come outside and beat the piss out of all of the protesters who are protesting the foul treatment of a boss. And so he would just hire a security team. They would just beat up everybody. Continue.
For about 150 years, police, security forces, National Guard.
Who?
National Guard.
The National Guard would beat you up if you tried to picket, if you tried to protest, if you tried to fight for fair wages. They would call the National Guard. They would come out there and hit you with a rifle in your head. That's what happened. That's what happened. Once again, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot trying to protest the black sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee. They shot him when he went out there to do it. Now we have Labor Day. Everybody loves Labor Day. Everybody loves it now. They didn't always love it. They didn't always love it. That's the lesson that you better learn. You see, it takes courage and unity to fight for something that people later on will realize was the right thing to do. That's why you can't be a coward. That's why you can't go coward, because right now in the Israelite school of UPK, under commanding General Yohanna, we're fighting for unity. We're fighting for a better place. We're fighting for better treatment. We're fighting for you. And now everyone hates us. They will not hate us later. Do you understand? They won't hate us later, but you're going to have the courage up to endure this time. Then one day everyone will look up and will say, if not for the Most High God, there would be no Sabbath day. That's where the labor union truly starts, on the Sabbath day. Because the Most High God in the Bible, thousands of years ago, said, thou shalt do no servile work on the seventh day. You get a day off. And bosses and rich men have been fighting that for thousands of years. With the police, with their own private security guards and with the National Guard. They've been fighting, trying to not give you a day off. Other people were able to go through the war. Are you? That's what you better ask yourself. What are you willing to go through for a better place? Continue.
And special police forces had opposed union organizing and strikes.
Always. Give me Martin Luther King, since Martin Luther King died, his memory has been perverted to push white supremacy. But when Martin Luther King was alive, he was a labor organizer. That's what he was doing. Show me him and Jimmy Hoffa first. That's what he was doing. He marched on Washington for jobs. If you can find that, you can look it up in your phone or someone can give it to the brother. Give me the original name for the March on Washington. Everyone now knows the March on Washington for the I Have a Dream speech. The I Have a Dream speech is in all of your hearts, tattooed in your heart, for being how white people and black people should come together. How we all should hold hands and all come together. That's not why he was there. That wasn't the point. The point was jobs, jobs. Please read it for everyone to understand.
Oh, God. The original name for the March on Washington for jobs and freedom was Emancipation for Jobs.
Emancipation for white people and black people to love each other.
Emancipation for jobs.
Emancipation for us to all get along and love each other and interracially marry.
Emancipation for jobs.
The March on Washington was about jobs because we couldn't get jobs. Why? Because the white unions would not let us join. And when we tried to have a black union, we were beat up. So now we wanted to get in the street and march so we could work, so we could have money, so we could get off on the weekend, so we could get off on holidays, so we could work overtime and get paid for it. Now, after he got shot, Martin Luther King's entire legacy is getting black people to hug white people, even though they shot your brother and killed everyone in the church. You're supposed to forgive white people. That's his legacy. That is not what he was actually doing when he was alive. Do I need to show you? Give me Martin Luther King when he was alive. First, give me Jimmy Hoffa. I sent this to you. I sent you a video, or you can look it up in your phone. Come on, boy.
So the white union workers, they will get beat up by the police officers, and the black union workers will get beat up by the white union workers and the police officers.
Give him a hand. That's it. That's what will happen. That's exactly right. If you were a white union officer, you were in the white union, the cops will come get you. So then the white unions got smart and they went out and got someone else to fight for them. Those people were called the mafia. The mafia went and the mafia helped the white union. The mafia would send 100 people out there with baseball bats to be able to fight the cops for the white union. And that's how white unions became so strong, because they teamed with the Italians. They came together, right? But now you're in a black union. And now you're trying to protest. And guess what the white people want? They want the black union gone. Why? Simple logic. So that the place can hire Italians, right? Because if the black union leaves, then there'll be all Italians in this place, right? And so the black union is trying to say, we want better jobs. The white union is saying, get out of here and leave and let this boss hire these Italians, these Irish people. And so then we would get beat up by the black unions, by the white unions. That's a fact. That's historical fact. You can Google and look it up. Let me give you a little more. Here's Jimmy Hoffa. You heard him before? Jimmy Hoffa, of course, worked with the mafia. Was later on killed, and they've never found his body. They've been looking for his body forever, Jimmy Hoffa, because he was one of those white union workers who was successful because he worked with the Italian mafia to be his muscle so that he couldn't get beat up by the boss on these jobs. He was head of the Teamsters Union. And of course, the presidents and the bosses would hire the police, the National Guard, security guards. Jimmy Hoffa went and got the mafia, the Italians, to be the muscle to fight them at the front door of the factories. And he became successful, extremely successful. Well, here's his buddy right here, because here's another labor leader, Martin Luther King, who would go out and protest when black people in black unions were getting beat up by white unions. And this is Jimmy Hoffa trying to help the poor black union. Play the video.
Cause that you believe in, cause that Mr. Weasel died for, cause we fought for myself at least 35 years. After discussing with the executive board all the problems that some of our people within that 51 years, we recognized the cost, the suffering. We thought the least we could do was give a contribution. Clear
and adequate for me to express my appreciation to you and the members of the Teamsters Union for this great contribution. I can assure you that it will go a long, long way in our struggle, and it will give us renewed courage and vigor to carry on. Thank you very much.
That's them working together. Jimmy Hoffa was the Teamsters Union, was one of the major backers to the March on Washington for Jobs. That's where this check went to. So now he could go march on Washington to help black people get jobs. And the Teamsters Union gave him a donation for it. Now your belief in Martin Luther King is about interracial marriage. And it's about forgiving white people no matter how much they kill you in your church or shoot you on your job or kill your brother. That is not what he was actually fighting for. He was actually just trying to get black people jobs. And they perverted his memory because he was sick and he loved to have sex with white women. And because of that, they're able to pervert his memory and use it to subjugate black people under white people. But that is not what it was about. It was about labor. It was about labor. Give me another one. Give me what Martin Luther King, how they thought of Martin Luther King when he was alive. You have one? I'll tell you where to start if you can pull it up on the screen. What they said about Martin Luther King might be familiar to a lot of you. I know it was very familiar to me. If someone cannot hear, please, you got to tell us in the chat room, all right? Yeah, send this over. Skip that. Nice and fast, all right? Keep going on. Stop. Go back up. No, I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Stop. Okay, go back up to his poll numbers. Yeah, let me see. On this article right here, it goes over Martin Luther King's poll numbers. Just like right now there's an election and they take polls of how people feel about Kamala Harris or how they feel about Donald Trump. When Martin Luther King was alive, right before he died, his poll numbers were 75% negative. 75%. Hold on one second. Slow it down. Keep going. This might. Did I send you two of these up?
You sent me this one, and you sent me one more.
Let me see the other one.
It was called.
What was that called? Was it about Martin Luther King?
It said African Americans and the American labor movement.
No. Skip down and keep going. Keep going. I just have to find it. I should look through it on my phone. It's probably better. Hold on.
Oh, I found it.
Let me see.
73%.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
In 1968, a study asked whether Negroes are being treated in this community the same as whites are.
This is not it, but this is another good one. Go ahead.
Not very well or bad. 73% of whites insisted they are being treated the same.
Wait, where you at right now? What's the title? Everything's fine?
Everything's fine.
Check that out. Listen to this. Now, this is in 1968. And they went around and asked white people a question. Go ahead and read it.
In 1968, a study asked whether Negroes are being treated in this community the same as whites are. Not very well or bad. 78% of whites insisted they were being treated the same, and only 3% felt they were treated.
In 1968, white people thought there was no racism. In 1968, they thought there was none. 78% of white people said that blacks and whites are being treated equally before civil rights. During the time when black people did not have rights, white people still thought you had nothing to complain about. They thought you were being treated perfectly in 1968. Now you understand why today they think the same thing. They thought it in 1968. They thought there was nothing to be complained about, no reason to be outside of that camp, no reason to complain. Black people are being treated with equality. They said that in 1968. Continue.
And 58% of whites believe Negroes themselves were to blame than white people for the present conditions.
That's in 1968. They thought black people, you're the problem. It's you. You're the reason that you're oppressed. You're the reason that you're doing nothing in your community. It's you. They think that today, and in your mind, you think, well, maybe it's because we've made progress. They thought that before civil rights. They thought that back then. Continue.
In which Negroes were being treated. White America was violently allergic to any sense of personal responsibility for the condition of Black America.
That's a fact. They were violently opposed to even learning about your condition. That is happening today. That was like that in 1968. In 1968, they do not want to hear about your problems. They do not want to hear about what's going on with you. And if you think that's simply a product of today, you're wrong, because it was like that in the 60s. Continue.
They were in complete denial that racism was a significant problem.
What do they say today if you talk about racism? Well, it doesn't really exist. But we've made strides. We're post-racial. We've been saying that since the 1700s. Continue. Skip back. What do we have there? Okay, skip down. Hold up, buddy. Go back up. I think I missed it. Now I want what people thought about Martin Luther King. That's what I need now. I'll skip you down for it. Read this. Read what it says. For this king was regularly accused. Well, hold on. There might be something above here. Here, read that.
For this, king was regularly accused of what today will be called reverse racism.
What was King accused of?
Reverse racism.
What was Martin Luther King accused of regularly?
Reverse racism.
Who knows what that is? Reverse racism. Anyone? Anyone online? Because they definitely accused Martin Luther King of reversed racism. You know what racism is, right? That's when who hates who? That's when whites hate blacks. So what's reverse racism? When blacks hate whites. What did people accuse Martin Luther King of regularly? Of hating white people. It's right here. Here it is. They said he hated white people. That's what they said about him. That is what they said about him when he was alive. Now he's the reason your grandmom is going to hug the person that killed her grandson if he's white. If he's black, she won't hug him. But if he's white, she's going to hug the person. Why? Because of the legacy of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was accused of reverse racism regularly. Continue.
Of hating white people.
He was that one more time?
Of hating white people.
What was Martin Luther King accused of?
Of hating white people.
That's what they said about him. Now you remember that when they say you're in a hate group. Remember that. Who else was in a hate group? Anyone want to know? Right here. Martin Luther King was in a hate group. It's right here. You can just Google it and look it up. That's what they said about him. They said he was in a hate group. Why? Because he was fighting for the black sanitation workers. He was fighting for the black train workers, fighting for the black bus drivers, fighting for the black people that drove the bus. So because he loved black people, you have to be accused of hating white people. That's true today, and it was true of Martin Luther King. Now remember that when you're scared to tell anyone that you're in the Israelite school of U.P.K. Remember that. Read it from the top and keep reading.
For this, King was regularly accused of what today would be called reverse racism, of hating white people. One piece of hate mail is particularly revealing.
So now here's some hate mail that he received. Listen carefully. Go ahead.
How can you be a minister and have such hatred in your heart for the white race?
I've heard this since 95. How can you call yourself a man of God and have such hatred in your heart for white people? How can you read that Bible and still say that about white people? Who else did they say that to? Martin Luther King. It's right here. Read it again.
How can you be a minister and have such hatred in your heart for the white race and the nation in general?
And the nation, what else did they accuse? They're accusing him of hating white people. And what else are they saying he hated? America. How could you hate white people and hate the nation in general and call yourself a man of God? I know exactly what that feels like to be told that. So do you. Keep going.
You return that Nobel Peace Prize that we bestowed upon you.
You should return that Nobel Peace Prize that we bestowed upon you. The devil is saying he gave him the Nobel Peace Prize as if he gave it to him. But in his mind, white people gave it to him and he should give it back. Any more?
There's another paragraph.
Go ahead.
King believed that conflict was necessary because hard and obfuscated truth must be brought into the light.
Ain't that something? You hear that, don't you? Martin Luther King said that believed that conflict was necessary because hard and obfuscated truths. Obfuscate means like a truth that's being distorted. You can't see it. It's an obfuscated view. Well, that needs to be brought to light. So he knew that you had to have conflict. So why are we considered a cult? Why are we such a hate group? When we believe that obfuscated truths must be brought to light, we're going to have some conflict because otherwise no one will ever see the truth. At least that's what Martin Luther King believed. Keep going.
No matter how much anger, frustration, resentment, denial, backlash, and yes, conflict emerges as a result. In his most famous piece, Letter from a Birmingham Jail, he writes, non-violent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community.
I think you can read that on your own. Everyone can look that up. The brothers will post it online if you want to check it out. All right. So once again, this is where Labor Day comes from. Now, what I've always wondered is why are we considered so evil if we want to do the same thing? We want to just do the same thing. We want to unify with every Puerto Rican, every Mexican, every Guatemalan, every Haitian, every South and Central American. We want to unify with them. We want to come together with them, with every so-called North American Indian. And we want to fight for a better place. Why is that wrong? Why is that considered so evil? It shouldn't be. You should give us a national holiday. You should give us what you gave people who did the exact same thing. Everybody understands. All right. We good here? Anything else? I'll take.
There's a question, sir.
What's your question,
I mean, it's online.
Please.
So I.S.U.P.K says, Shalom, Lord, if you see fit, may I get a general breakdown of Matthew 23 and 15?
Absolutely, Ark. It would be my honor. Through water. Go ahead. Oh, you got to roll. So look, someone answer this last question, all right? Then we'll end the class. Whenever you're ready.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
What?
Hypocrites.
Let me tell you, to this day, and since Jesus Christ said these words, this is one of the chief cuts that you can always give the Christian church, the Muslim mosque, the Democrats, and the Republicans. All of them are hypocrites. Hypocrites. What does the term hypocrite mean? Meaning they say one thing, they portray themselves to be one way, and in actuality, they're the opposite. They behave like they're men of God. They discuss themselves and praise themselves to be men of God. But in actuality, they are the most wicked people that you'll ever find. This is true of the Christian church today. This was true of the Sadducees and Pharisees in the day of Jesus Christ. Continue.
Now come, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte.
So you proselyte. So you will get on a boat and go compass sea and land. To compass sea and land means to go around it. So you'll go all around the world to gain new followers. Keep going.
Now come, and when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves.
And when he is finally a member of your church, you make him doubly a servant of hell than you are. That's the Christian church. The Christians go all the way over to Africa to gain new followers. You've seen that. They go all the way to Ghana, all the way to Nigeria, all across the world, all the way to the Philippines and Egypt to gain Christian followers. Just for those same Christians to become Christians, to get dipped in that water, and then to become the most wicked child molesters and LGBT people you've ever found. They don't become better people, even though the Christians went over to Africa to find them. They don't become good people. They don't become kind people, righteous people, people of dignity and honor. They become worse than they ever were. That's the point of this precept. Was there any more? Was that it? Was that it? With that, let's pass the class over to Priest Officer Mathia.
We're I.S.U.P.K, so like I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're I.S.U.P.K, so out of 1 West on the 25th Street, New York, under command of GEN.YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, there are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you will find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. It means 10th in the Hebrew, I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department. Free will offer for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount of your life. Upcoming holy convocations. If we got the next one is a memorial blowing of the trumpets, and you can find this is the first day of the 7th month, and it's on the lands on Wednesday, the 2nd of October, and you can find it in Leviticus chapter 3, chapter 23, verses 24 and 25. Remind Akim and Akwati to check the bulletin board in the hallway. And if any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black. boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that, men of Israel, like Majid, which means the same. All right, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I Shabbat. I Barak. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shabbat at the top, Saul, which means the turn. I sisters, which means stand. We're going to give the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I Shabbat. I Barak. Yahweh Shamar Adam Bashem Yahweh Shabbat. At the top, Pastor Smith.